He asks to talk face to face at least, but she notes that now, she's just wondering what to do with him. She does have a few good ideas, but her favorite must be this one. She will be dragging him to the surface and throwing him into the hot, arid sand. Naturally, that couldn't possibly kill him, so she will make sure that his head is above the surface, so that he is able to take air into those lungs of his. After that, she will force his eyes and mouth to stay open, and due to the dry and hot area, his eyes will crack into pieces, and his tongue will become like dried up wood. After he has experienced that, he will become a scarecrow of the desert, as she will destroy his legs and twist them into one long string. Additionally, she will stick a few thin metal pieces into each of his fingers, something which might be too painful for someone like him. Suddenly, Eugene's body moves on his own, and he gets up. Amelia continues. Front the tips of his fingers, into his arms, across his broad shoulders, and his other fingers, so that he can keep his arms spread open, like a good scarecrow should. His eyes will already be broken by then, so he will not be able to see what is happening around him, but he will be able to feel it, that aching pain, the metal slowly becoming a part of him. Unfortunately for him, she won't be able to dull his pain, but at this point, she wouldn't want to. Eugene says that he will die from the shock by that point, but Amelia tells him that he won't, as she won't let him. That is how he is going to become a scarecrow for this part of the desert, for a very, very long while, until she is tired of seeing him like that at least. Finally, she asks if he knows who she is, and Eugene answers, she is Amelia Merwin. Amelia notes that he is correct. She is the desert's dungeon master, the Black Thorn, the Death Answer, that is her, in her entirety. She notices that he managed to break her pet. Granted, it was a rather useless being, but it was still hers, and only she can do whatever she wants to it, since she is the owner, be it torture, breaking, or killing it. Eugene notes that she has a rather gross and ugly pet. Why didn't she bathe it at least? Amelia smacks him across the head with her staff instantly, something which sends him back. She tells him that the only person who can say those things about her pet is only herself, as she is the owner. Eugene spits out some blood, but gets up on his own, as the spell seemed to be broken, so he might have a chance at an attack. He can't delude himself like this, however, as Amelia is on a whole another level, and he couldn't hope to kill her, even if he has time to use ignition. He did not want to use Balzac's letter, but now, he doesn't have much of a choice. He asks if she knows about Balzac Ludbeth, which makes her stare at him with an inquisitive stare. She does, but she doesn't seem to know why he is bringing up his name so suddenly. Eugene explains that he knows him personally, and he wrote him a letter to give to her if he were to ever come across her. He throws the letter into one of her hands, and she notices that indeed, he is speaking the truth, as this seal is Balzac's. But why would he write a letter for someone as puny as him? Does he even know what this letter means? Eugene says that Balzac told him, if he hands this to her, she would let him go, no matter what he did. Amelia explains that it's a little bit different from that, as long time ago, Balzac helped her with something. As payment, she promised to him a single favor, no matter what it be. That was a very valuable payment, even for someone as powerful as Balzac, as the ability to ask Amelia Merwin herself for a favor is something that happens too rarely. However, for entire decades, he did not ask her for a single thing, so he gets what she's insinuating, right? Since he has this, he now owns the favor, and can ask for one thing in Balzac's stead. As long as she can do it, it will be done. If he does not want to die, then he should ask to be spared, as she will not kill him. But she also won't let him go like this. She needs to know exactly why, how, and what he was doing in this place. Eugene seems to think for a bit, and finally comes to a conclusion. He asks her, the mighty Amelia Merwin, to off herself, right in front of him, and right now. This makes Amelia smile, as she previously told him that it would be anything as long as she can do it, and that she cannot do. Since it has come to this, she will be giving him two choices. If he doesn't want to talk at all, she will respect his decision and will kill him. However, if he wants to live, then she will let him. But he needs to tell her about everything that she wants to know. These two choices surprise Eugene, and she explains that he shouldn't worry, as she is not going to cripple him like she originally planned. And even if he chooses death, she won't torture him, as she plenty of ways to get him to talk. He has become an interesting subject for her. How did he get here? A place that not even the Sultan of this desert knows about. Only the desert mages here know of this place, so perhaps there was a rat amongst them who worked with him. That shouldn't have happened, but it doesn't matter now. Eugene wonders what to do. As if he asks for his life, she will get a confession out of him, no matter how he puts it. If she doesn't need to torture him for answers, she will use dark magic to get her answers, and at her level, he can't hope to resist against it. Amelia notes that he is thinking for a long time, so should she interpret this hesitation as his answer? Eugene thinks that another option is to use ignition and try to run, but she will most likely use the binding spell once again, so that's not a good plan. She says that she has become bored of waiting, so she will give him to the count of 3. That will be the allotted time to answer. 1. Eugene wonders if he should tell her about him being a Lionheart, but this fucking dark mage wouldn't even respect that name. 2. Should he just be honest about all of it? Tell her that he opened the door she couldn't, and found the moonlight sword within. But that's not great either, as even if she will spare his life, she will certainly take his sword. Before Amelia can count to 3, she stops and looks behind her, as the undead has risen. Eugene notices that he has an entirely different aura, that disgusting feeling. He knows it all too well. Amelia instantly bows down, and she asks, "What brings the mighty and benevolent demon king of incarceration in this most disgusting place?" He looks directly into Eugene's direction, and explains that he saw him through the eyes of Balzac before. Did he perhaps come to offer flowers to one of his ancestors' dearest friends? He is sure that he can see for himself, that the owner of this grave is Hamildinus, who was called the Foolish, but he was definitely not that. He was a strong and talented warrior, and also Vermouth's best friend. Eugene wonders what the hell he is talking about, but he's also annoyed that this thing is talking about Vermouth so casually. The Demon King of Incarceration notes that he knows all too well why he would consider him an enemy, but he and Vermouth have genuinely understood each other and built a real relationship. However, to enforce something that happened 300 years ago on a descendant is rather silly of him. He respects the Lionhearts out of the friendship he had with the great Vermouth, but he will not demand respect from him. Now, he speaks directly to him. After Vermouth, for 300 years, he has seen a ton of Lionhearts come and go, but he believes that he is the only one, out of all of those, that is most like Vermouth. Amelia analyzes Eugene, and sure enough he seems to be a Lionheart, as he has all of the traits. She also notes that she didn't expect to see the great king in such a pitiful place, in the vessel of a puny death knight. So, he should tell her already. How is she supposed to take all of this into account? The Demon King of Incarceration notes that it's up to her, but she then asks, did he only come here to defend the cub of that bad lion? The Demon King of Incarceration notes that it is his friend's descendant, so he had to. Amelia says that this is no reason to oppress her freedoms, which he is supposed to respect fully. The Demon King of Incarceration explains that Vermouth is dead, has been for a long time, but his bloodline continues to live on, and especially this Eugene fellow, as he can see Vermouth in him. She should not take this the wrong way, as he still endears and respects her, but not as much as the great Vermouth. Amelia asks how he can respect someone who has been dead for so long, more than someone who is alive right now. She tries to get up, but the Demon King pushes her down instantly, which takes her by surprise. She looks at him with a rage-fueled expression, and the Demon King of Incarceration says that her freedom cannot possibly transcend her respect for him. Previously, he has respected her freedom to do whatever she wishes to in Hamel's grave, and he still does. But if she truly wishes to harm Vermouth's descendant, he cannot accept that, for now at least. Eugene notices what he just said, and asks, what does he mean by "for now"? Amelia tells him to be more polite to the great king, as his arrogance is showing. The Demon King of Incarceration explains that 300 years ago, he made a promise with Vermouth, as he knows, and 300 years is a long time for humans. For all of those years, he has shown courtesy and generosity to Vermouth's descendants. He accepted it as fact that they did not show him the same kind of generosity and respect. However, he cannot have people think that it is an obligation to be nice to them. He is the Demon King of Incarceration, ruler of countless demons, and Helmut's king. Eugene starts shaking uncontrollably, as even this talking is making him tremble, and his heart tightens in his chest. The Demon King continues. Naturally, with freedom comes a sense of responsibility, as without it, freedom is just self-indulgence, something which he is not keen of. So, by his command, he will relay what he is saying not to all the Lionhearts. If they will not muster enough courage to respect him, he will no longer be giving them the respect he has up until now. Eugene sees clear as day that this is a warning, and asks, why is he telling him this now, after 300 years of silence? The Demon King of Incarceration explains that his ancestor made a promise, but the payment was freedom, however. That promise is coming to a close. The wheel that Vermouth has stopped for so long is about to begin turning once again. There will be a need for another promise, one day. So who will be able to make that promise in Vermouth's stead, and stops that wheel from turning once again? Eugene asks what the promise was, and the Demon King looks at him for a second, before grinning widely. He does not have the right to know that, since he is not Vermouth, but only a foolish lion. His existence, or rather his very soul, all of this, was because of Vermouth's promise, that he could be born 300 years later. Eugene is extremely shocked by this revelation, and his pendant glows. The Demon King of Incarceration also tells Amelia to go back to her dungeon, but she doesn't want to, as she still has questions for this lion cub. He notes that she will not find any answers from him, but she doesn't want to believe it, as her pet was basically destroyed, and he also easily opened the door that she tried to, but no matter what, she couldn't. He looks around for a door and teleports the three of them to it. With one flick of his hand, he disintegrates the door and tells her to look. There is only Hamel's grave inside. Nothing ever happened here. Amelia knows all too well that now, he just basically told her to stand down, or else. Amelia asks if he likes the vessel he is wearing now, as she will give it to him if he does. The Demon King of Incarceration notes that his business around these parts is done, so he will be returning Hamel's body. She asks if he's sure, as that is the body of Vermouth, his best friend actually. The Demon King of Incarceration says that indeed it is, but Hamel is not his friend. In that moment, the body slowly falls as the Demon King removes his presence from it. While getting up, Amelia tells Eugene that he got very lucky, but next time, he won't. She gets the essence from the body of Hamel and walks away, thinking that she can't do anything to that brat now. But someday, soon, she will make sure to kill him once that promise is over, and in truth, she just can't wait for it. After she is gone from that area, Eugene's fist shakes uncontrollably as his veins pop out from rage. He unleashes a mighty scream and starts smashing every wall and pillar he is in visual contact with. He remembers how the Demon King of Incarceration called him a foolish lion. He knows, that fucker knows that he was reincarnated. He also remembers what he said about him reincarnating, that it was because of Vermouth's promise. But just what could that mean? Did Vermouth make the promise in order to have him reincarnated? That wouldn't be possible, however, as Vermouth knew him all too well, and if he wanted to do something for him, he would have chosen to kill this damn Demon King of Incarceration. Additionally, from what he gathered, the promise was made for peace, and it had nothing to do with the reincarnation. Lastly, he remembers how he said that Hamel isn't his friend, but the feeling is more than mutual at this point. Amelia took his old body away. Unfortunately, he was not able to fully annihilate it. Also, what did that Demon King bastard imply about the wheel, and how it will soon start to turn again? He always speaks in riddles, like some type of wise being, but he doesn't intend to make any promise to stop that wheel. If that wheel only rolls over manure and mud, it should be destroyed, not stopped. However, if his reincarnation wasn't Senya's or Anissa's doing, but Vermouth's, he's quite surprised. He didn't expect him to do something like that at all, as he didn't seem the type. He pulls out a leaf from his cloak and starts to piece the story together. Some 200 years earlier, after Vermouth was long dead, someone invaded his grave, and Senya realized, so she came all of the way here to stop that person. Senya fought that invader valiantly, but soon after, disappeared. This leaf that he found in front of Hamel's coffin is something he recognizes, as it is from the World Tree. One of these leaves allows a person to teleport to the Elven Fortress, no matter where they are. Did she use this because she was in so much danger? But who could actually corner the great Senya like that? The only person he can think of is Vermouth. But if it was really Vermouth who fought with her, what would really be the reason for it? He remembers the first time he met the party. Senya scoffed and complained at him, noting that he was just some everyday mercenary. Anise instantly insulted him, saying that he looks like he has no sense of real class, and she is sure that there are more valiant people than him. Moron, of course, was a moron, so he only said that he wanted to fight the warriors from this kingdom, as they seemed strong. Even after all of this, though, Vermouth insisted that Hamel became his companion, something which Hamel rejected. He doesn't intend to bow down to someone weaker, so they will fight now. Unexpectedly, Hamel fell in a few short minutes, but he did not falter, and they fought again and again until the sun was about to set. Eventually, Hamel asked, why does he even want him to come? Vermouth explained that he will be his companion if he wins, so he has won. Wasn't that the promise? Hamel said that he doesn't get it. If he is the warrior of light, somebody who is destined to save the world, why does he need him specifically? Vermouth approaches him and told him that he needs him and his power in order to destroy all of the demon kings. So he should come with him and become a savior of this world. Eugene thinks about it further. If the reincarnation and the necklace were Vermouth's doing, he would have been able to place the necklace in the Lionheart treasury with ease, as he was the founder of the family. But it's too early to confidently say that this is what happened. The illusion of Senya he saw, and the handwritten words on his gravestone, those must also mean something. Perhaps one day, we will meet in the world you hoped for. That was written, and if it wasn't referring to heaven, but his reincarnation, did Vermouth betray Senya for some reason? He doesn't know, and honestly, doesn't even want to think that this is true. But in order to find out what happened, what really went on in this place, he needs to find Senya. Much later, the Kajitan of Emir stares at Eugene and hopes that at least he knows that what he is asking is too much. He heard about him from his subordinates, the ones who retreated, but does he truly think that he sent them out to steal from him? Eugene notes that he could give less about their intentions. The truth is that they harmed him, or attempted to, at least. The Kajitan explains that all of this was to protect him, and only that. If he is not aware already, Nahama and Keel are not on great terms. Not at all, as Keel's emperor is scared about Nahama's power. And the Sultan also holds resentment against Keel too. He thinks that the mages of the desert, who are constantly progressing this damn desertification, are hiding at the very end of the desert. If this child somehow was able to come across them, then the scorpion would have come there too. The Kajitan notes that him protecting him so well is basically Nahama bowing down to Keel, at least for once. He also had to figure out what he was doing there. But truly, why was he heading towards the barren Kajitani desert, where nobody lives? Eugene says that he did not come all this way to be interrogated by him, and the Kajitan notes that this is precisely why. He can't hope to start interrogating someone like him, so he had his subordinates follow him, so that they could protect him, if something were to occur. If Rahman had properly carried out the orders he had been given, they would not be having this awfully awkward conversation right now. He understands that he feels bad about this situation, but from what he has gathered from the others, they kept a pretty good distance from him. Yet, he was the one that attacked. Eugene smiles and thinks that this guy isn't bringing up the assassins or the desert mages to boot, so he doesn't know that Hamel's grave and Amelia Merwin are in the Kajani desert. What a puppet. However, there is no need to tell him all of this, so he will just solve this as he does and back off. He notes that if he is right, then he misunderstood the situation, which is his fault, but that doesn't explain the whole situation to his family. What will they say when they see him like this? The Kajitan doesn't know what he is trying to tell him, and Eugene clarifies. Even if somehow all of this was just a simple misunderstanding, it is true that he has endangered him. So if he explains all of this as a misunderstanding, he doesn't know what his family will do. The Kajitan's voice starts to tremble, and Eugene explains that he doesn't want this to become a bad situation either, as it could lead to a problem between two entire nations, and he doesn't want to put his dear family in a tough situation only because of this. The Kajitan finally gets it, and asks what, or how much he wants. Eugene asks for a simple 500 million cell. He thinks that this is a pretty cheap price for repairing their relationship, which is filled with misunderstandings. The Kajitan notes that for someone so young, he sure is very bold, which is not a bad trait at all. He will have the money, if that is the only way to appease his anger. Since they have settled this amicably, He has to ask just one more thing before he goes. Truly, what did he see in the Kajani desert? Eugene says that there was only desert, and more desert, as he said previously. There is nothing there. He thinks that the coffin, statue, and memorial stone, all of them he put in his cape, so really there is nothing left remaining. Even the sultan of this place doesn't know about Hamel's grave, so as long as that damn Amelia keeps her mouth shut tight, what happened there remains there, and will never get out. He also tells the Kajitan that he will be taking Rahman with him, as he has to make him pay for threatening his life. The Kajitan says that if he wants to do that, he can make him easy for him and have him executed right here and right now. Rahman feels betrayed, as this is the master that he has followed through thick and thin. Eugene explains that he is not that merciless and doesn't want to see his head roll over something so trivial. He is just going to bring him back home and make him scrub their toilets or something. The Kajitan says that it's as he wants it to be, and so their conversation ends. While walking to his next location, Eugene remembers a conversation he had with Anise in a field filled with dead soldiers. She said that sometimes, in times like these, she has doubts. If their mighty God truly is omnipotent and all-knowing as it is told, then why does he let these young soldiers of him bleed like this? Hamel told her to stop, as it is clear as day that she is drunk. Anise continues, however, if God truly is a light that chases away all of the darkness, then why doesn't he do just that? That's when Hamel noted that they have vermouth. He does not know anything about her God of light or complicated stuff like that, but he does know that vermouth is one strong guy. So if she wants to look at it like this, God could not take care of this world by himself, and so he sent vermouth, the living miracle, to help. That is why he is a valiant warrior, and why the sacred sword acknowledged him instantly. Anise did not expect such kind words from someone like him, but Hamel didn't do it out of kindness. He is just really annoyed with her, as he has to listen to her drunk tales over nothing. So she should hand some of that drink over, instead of drinking alone, like a sad drunk. Anise clenched her flask tight, and noted that this is not alcohol, but holy water, that could not be given to somebody who lacks faith, like him. That's how they started bickering about it, and in hindsight, that was pretty fun. Eventually, Eugene arrives at his location, the sacred ground of light, Hogani, where Anise's statue is located. If he were to take a shot from the Holy Empire Eurus across the ocean, he would arrive here. 200 years ago, Anise sent a prayer right here, before starting her pilgrimage, to the very end of the desert. He thinks that Anise came to his grave to pay respects. However, Senya's retirement and Anise's pilgrimage do not overlap completely, as Senya retired a few years earlier. Then, Anise chose to go on a pilgrimage. Anise couldn't have visited his grave, it seems, as if she had. She would have definitely done something about the state that he found it in. Was vermouth also somehow involved in the disappearance of Anise? He could not find anything important in this place, so the only clue he has now is this leaf that Senya left behind. Rahman sheepishly grabs his attention and asks if he has changed his mind about going back. Eugene claims that he hasn't, and they are definitely going back to Kiel now. Kayan eagerly waits for him, as he wants to see just how strong he grew in the 2 years that he was gone. Kayan looks at the portal with a certain unease, and his mother notes that he seems unhappy with his brother coming back. Kayan explains that he wants him to come back, but he also doesn't want that at the same time. If Eugene really wants to become the patriarch, he will most likely have to give up and surrender the position to him. His mother says that, as long as he does not back down, Eugene won't become the patriarch. He has no need to. Kayan asks truly, is this what is best for the Lionhearts? The patriarch position should be given to the strongest amongst the family. His mother notes that he is no longer a child, but a grown man. He can make these decisions on his own. Becoming the patriarch or surrendering the position, it's all his choice. Kayan looks at the ground and notes that this is not what she truly wishes for. His mother sighs, as it seems she has raised him too strictly. She regrets it now, as she doesn't want to end up like Theonis. She does not want her children to suffer over her greed, like Iode has. Kayan says that he is much different than that guy, and his mother notes that indeed he is, so now he can make the right choice. What he chooses, that will be the right choice, and she will respect it fully. Additionally, Eugene is now his brother, so even if they are not related by blood, they are still brothers. He should talk with him once he arrives, as the whole succession thing can wait. Eventually, Eugene arrives, and notes that he was going to see them all back at the house anyways, so why did they come out all the way here? His father immediately jumps on him, and Eugene says that it's been a while, and he seems to have worked out a ton, as his body is very sturdy. He has also grown a large beard. The father rubs his eyes and notes that it's thanks to Sterod. Eugene remembers that guy, he is Gargus's father. Are they really close enough now, for him to refer to him by his first name? He also notices Annarasumanara behind his father, and bows down, while apologizing, as he did not see her. She tells him to not be so awkward around her, as they are family. Eugene looks around, and notices that the patriarch is nowhere to be seen. Annarasumanara explains that he is at the Black Lion Castle, because of the coming-of-age ritual. He knows about that, right? Eugene remembers that the blood secession ritual, which he was a part of, is attended by both direct and indirect lineages. However, the coming-of-age ritual is only for the direct lineage children. Annarasumanara notes that it was Iode, who is 2 years older than him, that should have gone through the ritual last time, but now he is basically estranged, so the last ceremony was skipped due to this. But now, there are 3 children, himself, Kayan, and Seal, who will become fully fleshed adults next year, so that ceremony will be much more fun, it seems. That's when Raman comes out from the portal too, and Annarasumanara asks who he is. Eugene explains that he is his subordinate, Raman, and he is 32 years old. He has personally picked him, and he's trustworthy. He is not teaching him or anything, but he will be working some random jobs for his sake. He calls over Nina, who is also grown, and tells her to start teaching him about cleaning. The barn and tourney hall need some, and she should put him to the more strength-based tasks, as he has enough. Nina is taken back by this, and asks if that is okay, as he is his subordinate after all. Eugene tells her that this is exactly why he will do as he is told, and also tells Raman that from now on, Nina is his senior. Raman laments having to treat someone much younger than him as his senior, but still, all of this is for the young master Eugene. This way, he will also pay him back for saving his life. Surely, a day will come when he is needed, and on that day, he will risk his life for him, as a true warrior should. Kayan grabs Eugene's attention, and notes that if he's done, they should go and talk about some things. While they walked throughout the forest, Kayan strangely asks, "Just what is he?" Eugene naturally doesn't know how to respond to this, and asks just what the hell he is talking about. Kayan asks if he truly is 19, like he says, and Eugene notes that, if he wants the truth, he is actually a reincarnation of someone very important. Kayan tells him to stop lying, and Eugene can't help but laugh, as even though this is the truth, he doesn't believe him. He also asks why. Is he really that shocked at how powerful his brother has become? Kayan looks at him with a saddened expression, and explains that it was 2 years. They haven't seen each other for 2 entire years, yet it feels like he has lived 20 instead of 2. He tried with all of his might. While he was learning magic, he trained the sword day in and day out, and also reached 3 stars this way. But all the while, Eugene reached the 4th star already. His expression sours, and he tells Eugene to become the patriarch instead of him. Eugene asks why the sudden change. Did he not want to become patriarch? Kayan notes that, after seeing his face, he cannot handle it anymore. How can he become the patriarch, the leader of the family, when he is obviously so much better than him, in every aspect? Eugene asks why not, as he can just be the patriarch if he says that he will. He has no competition. Kayan just can't accept something like that, and Eugene suggests that they can have a duel if he wants him to have the position. If he wins, then he will accept any decision he makes. Kayan is confused by this, as wouldn't it make more sense for him to become patriarch if he wins? Eugene says that he is smarter than he expected, which anger Kayan. But still, he should become the patriarch, as that position is for somebody with ambition, and he also doesn't want such an annoying position to drag him down. If he really wants him to change his mind, the only way he will be able to do it is by force. Kayan sighs, and notes that instead of a duel, they should just have a proper spar, like they used to. They both go to the sparring area, and the servants watch in awe, as Kayan is desperately trying to hit Eugene even once, who is not even breaking a sweat. Eugene notices that Kayan is able to control his sword soul quite easily, and can also maintain it for a long while. His mana proficiency has become much better, probably because he reached 3 stars. Somebody with as much mana as him is probably extremely rare in this continent. Kyan thinks that this is strange, as he got tired too fast. It is like he is swinging his sword at a rock. Eugene's sword seems to deflect his every attack, but at the same time, it sends his sword where he doesn't want it to be. One of the servants says that it's no use, and wonders, if he were to fight with everything he got, while also using Sword Soul, could he be able to win? Hazar comes from behind them, and notes that it is unlikely. Master Eugene was strong 2 years ago too, but now, he is overwhelmingly so. Although Kyan has also gotten much stronger than he was previously, Eugene is taking all of those swift attacks without moving at all. Eugene sends Kyan back with a powerful parry, which makes Kyan asks about the technique, as it deflected all of his attacks. Eugene says that it's just some regular parrying, but Kyan doesn't believe it, as he parried his Sword Soul perfectly. He did not bounce it off, but rather let it slide off. Eugene notes that he has some pretty good eyes, and Kyan asks for him to tell him more about it. Eugene looks at him for a second, and then his expression changes into an evil one. Really? Does he truly want to learn from him? Kyan remains patient, while he almost breaks the sword in half, but Eugene says that he will teach him, as if he becomes strong enough. Him becoming the patriarch won't be an issue any longer, right? However, there are too many people around here, so they should go somewhere more private. They go somewhere more isolated, and Eugene explains that no matter what he does, he won't become stronger than him, but he will accept being the patriarch if he's strong enough. Is that the case? Kyan says that it is, but still. Eugene exclaims that there is no but. Even if he pushes that title on him, he will not become the patriarch, because he simply doesn't want to be one. Kyan thinks that he offered him the position a total of 3 times already, but he keeps rejecting. He notes that if this is his choice, then he can't argue with it. He is skilled, but doesn't have the qualities of a patriarch, and also didn't go through the proper lessons, so he is not prepared. He keeps yapping and yapping until Eugene kicks him in the shin, as he was just spouting bullshit. Kyan calms down, and asks when he's going to be taught the skill, right now? Eugene says that he is busy, so he can't teach him currently, but he will write it down and give it to him. If he trains hard enough and reads that thoroughly, he will be able to learn it in no time. In Mount Euclid, an old and rather rough mountain located south of Kiel, Vermouth, the greater of the Kiel Empire, gave up on his title and moved to a house in the capital. But even after 300 years afterwards, Euclid remains Lionheart territory. The Black Lion Castle is also located at the peak of said mountain, and this is the place Vermouth lived in the most, and also where his corpse lies. The different members are attending a meeting, and the Patriarch announces to everyone that Eugene has just returned to the main residence. One of the members notes that this is very nice timing, as there are only 2 months remaining in this year. The Patriarch says that if this is the case, there is no need to summon him to this place. But the other member tells him that he was the one who did something so unexpected. A child of indirect blood was taken into the main residence. That is something that has never happened throughout their history. The Patriarch thinks that he has seen this man ever since he was a boy, but he still feels uncomfortable about him. This is the oldest man in the family, and also the head of the Senate, called the White Lion of Immortality, Doiner's Lionheart. He says that naturally the child has proved his worth, but things have been rather messy around him. Carmen says that she also met that child when she went to Eroth. So why is it a problem that he is from an indirect family? What is important here is his potential, and only that. Doiners looks at her with a powering expression, and notes that even she has good enough insight that cannot represent the Black Lion, no matter what. So, he will check for himself during the coming-of-age ceremony, which he looks forward to. Doiners explains that the entire Senate agrees that the child, Eugene, has tons of potential. That is precisely why they permitted the current patriarch to adopt him and nurture him at the main residence. However, he will also become a fully fledged adult in 2 months, and that is when they will begin the process of choosing the next patriarch. He also heard that he visited Nahama, coming back only now, and the patriarch notes that he's correct. Doiners notes that even before that, he learned magic in Eroth at the Red Magic Tower, so he must be quite talented in that subject too. Well, he was talented enough to make the Red Magic Tower Master take him as his impromptu disciple, and he even had a few talks with Eroth's prince from what he's heard. He then tells the Patriarch directly that they are those who possess the Lionheart name and are a pack of lions, so it's okay for the Patriarch to raise his children based on what he wishes. However, letting a lion be raised and then leave the pack on his own just because he wants to is disrespectful to their culture and unacceptable. Gillard then looks at him sternly and says directly that decision is on him to make. He should not be controlled and tossed around. Doiners notes that naturally it is so, and he will respect the child's choices, but he will have to restrict his choices for the safety of the family. Judging by his tone, though, was he planning to recommend that child for the patriarch position? Gillard says that if this is what he wants, then he will leave him the possibility to. Carmen notes that he doesn't want to. She just talked with Seal, and she said that Eugene is refusing the position outright. This makes Doiner smile and hope that he doesn't change his mind about this. Later, Eugene gets informed by Anasilla that they will both be going to the Black Lion Castle, something which is strange, as usually the Senate elders would come here to take part of the ceremony. But this time, they were invited to go there instead. Seal herself is already there, so it's just them two that need to go there now. Eugene asks when, and she notes that they should leave as soon as they are ready to. With that, Eugene tells Kyan that they should go now, as he's sure that they will have everything they need there. Kyan accepts, and while they walk down a corridor, Kyan notes that he finished reading the book that he wrote for him. And well, it doesn't seem that useful, as doing all of this is simply torturing the core a lot. If he follows these methods, he will just pass out from the lack of mana in his body. Eugene says that this is how he trained it, thinking that it's how Hamel used to train his mana, even though he changed it a bit for Kyan, in order to make him even try. He tells him to keep something in mind. He must do it, even if he thinks he can't. He has to keep going, even if he wants to cry and throw up blood. That is what he must sacrifice in order to become like him. And more importantly, this is what he needs to do in order to become patriarch. Kyan is quite spooked by his words and calls him a bastard, which Eugene enjoys, as it means his teasing is working. Kyan also notes that this is the first time in a long while the coming-of-age ceremony is being held somewhere else, especially at the Black Lion Castle. However, he kind of gets why, as because of that sad sack of nothing Iode, the Senate has been keeping an eye on them too. Maybe, just maybe, they want to teach them a lesson, and most likely warn him specifically of something. Eugene asks what they would do with him then, and Kyan explains that, since he's the future patriarch, maybe they want to congratulate him a little earlier, and he might even be allowed to go to Vermouth's grave. This makes Eugene stare at him deeply, as Vermouth's resting place is located in Mount Ulcus, but its precise location is extremely well hidden, and even the current patriarch does not know about it. He does not believe that Vermouth died peacefully, like the books said, so he needs to make sure that it's his body that is in that grave, at least to confirm his suspicions, if nothing else. Kyan starts fangirling about the things that he will be allowed to, maybe a weapon that Vermouth himself used, the special ones. Among them, the Demon Kings of Cruelty's weapon, the demonic spear Ruintos, and the Demon King of Slaughter's weapon, the pulverizing flail Zigguillard. These two are not kept in the treasury of the main residence, but rather in the Black Lion Castle. Currently, the one who owns the demonic spear is the eldest member of the Senate, and its leader, Doiner's Lionheart. Subsequently, the owner of the pulverizing flail, Zigguillard, is his grandson, and the First Legion captain of the Black Lion Knight Order, Dominic Lionheart. Kyan says that the leader of the Senate is way too old, as he's past even the age of retirement. Maybe he will retire, and give the demonic spear to him. Eugene doesn't care about this, however, as he has no way of knowing. While he is in his room, Eugene unsheathes the Moonlight Sword, and notices that his mana gets drained the moment he pulls this thing out. What an idiotic sword. The fragment he got from the auction is also here, and stays in the middle of the sword, resonating with it, and adding more power. He thinks that once he collects all of the fragments, the sword will return to its original power, but he shouldn't hurry, as he needs to find Vermouth's grave first and foremost. Also, he didn't foresee leaving the main residence so soon, as he still has the gigantic Hamel statue and gravestone shoved up his cape. He was going to put them up here if he could convince Gillard, but since he cannot, that idea is out of the question. However, a new idea just popped up in his mind. Once the two brothers meet at the gate, they both ridicule each other's dressing code, but Kyan keeps staring at the Cape of Darkness, as he heard many things about it. Specifically, that it can deflect spells, and even has a pocket storage in it. Eugene tells him that no matter how long he stares at it, he will not give it to him. Once the portal gate to the Black Lion Castle is open, Eugene takes the first step in, and Cayenne follows him. When they arrive, however, Eugene just looks down, and Cayenne starts to scream for his life, as they were sent directly to the air. While he elegantly descends, Eugene notices the Black Lion Castle at the peak of the mountain. But how are they supposed to get all of the way there anyways? However, this might be beneficial for him, as if Vermouth's grave is hidden somewhere around these parts, he will be able to inspect it a bit before they go to the castle. He notices the screaming Cayenne, and thinks that if this is how the coming-of-age ceremony begins, and it wasn't a teleporting error, they will probably have some safety devices set up, so Cayenne won't die, probably. With that, he focuses on himself and uses magic to land. The Senate looks at this, and Doiners asks their mage if that is Winad's power, to which he replies with no, that is just simple floating magic. Doiners also notices that Eugene didn't panic at all, and he must be good with magic to pull out the right spell for the right moment. He asks the mage just how proficient he is, and the mage explains that floating magic is at the lowest 4th circle magic, and even though he fell from a high place, his speed was quite consistent, and his balance was top-notch. He might as well be 5th circle, or maybe more. Afterwards, Doiners asks if he knows that level Eugene has reached in the White Flame method. Gillard notes that before he went to Aroth, he was at 3 stars, and he received a letter last year that he had reached 4. This makes Doiners laugh. 4 stars at only 19, he might actually be even higher now, since it's been a year since then. One of the Senate members notes that this is impossible. 5 stars before becoming a damn adult? Carmen says that just because he's untalented doesn't mean that everyone else isn't. He shouldn't project himself like that. This makes the man mad, as he feels like Madame Carmen is looking down on him right now. But he's been a part of this Senate for 10 whole years. Carmen tells him to not call her Madam, as he looks older than her. Others might think he was her dad or something, if they didn't know better. The man explains that it's because she uses magic to look young, despite being a fossil at this point. Just how long will she be keeping this up? Carmen says that it's much better to look younger than being old, making him say that she has no class to speak of. If she is a part of the ancient Senate, she should look the part too. She is over 60, but she has deluded herself into looking younger. Carmen snaps her cigar in two, and it seems that he touched a subject he really shouldn't have. Doiners notes that they have almost made it to the ground, and sends Dominic for them, to test them out a bit. He accepts, but Gillard tries to oppose this, as they should test them at the castle, not in the forest. Doiners says that it wouldn't really be a test if they do it that way. Does he not believe in his children at all? Gillard says that he does, so Doiners notes that this is very different from the blood succession ritual, as there is no reason to cater to their age and experience. Gillard tells him that if they were going to do it like that, they should have invited Iode here too. Doiners finds it disappointing that he still hasn't gotten over that incident. He understands that it's his son, but he needs to let him go. He is living a happy and peaceful life at his mother's place, so it's all good. Gillard notes that still, he is the oldest of the main family, and even he will not succeed the patriarch title. He might as well be a part of this ceremony. Doiners taps him on the shoulder and tells him that it's a shame it happened, but unfortunately, that child has already become an adult. Where Eugene is, a two-headed ogre attacks him, which he easily takes care of, as its head is very exposed. Apparently this is the second one he fought, but it's strange as these ogres are the type to take entire forests as their territory, so two being in the same region is unheard of. He thinks that maybe they were raised in captivity, but maybe it's not just these ogres, as the wild forest feels like a farm for monsters. Also, there's no restriction put on their mana, like in the blood succession ritual, so there's no way that they just dropped them out of the sky just to fight some measly monsters. He continues walking around, but that's when he feels the wind coming faster in one direction, and is glad that there will finally be some action going on. Suddenly a wyvern appears, but it's leashed and is being rode on by none other than Seal, who wonders how Eugene managed to dodge in time. Eugene says that defeating just monsters would have been too easy, but it's been a long time since they last met. Doesn't she think that she's a bit too harsh to just attack him instead of greeting him nicely? She asks if his head hurts, and Eugene asks why it would. Seal explains that there is a barrier over this forest, and it should be clouding his mind quite a lot. Eugene notes that indeed, he felt a little dizzy when he first came here, but that's it. Seal is surprised that that's all that he felt, but Eugene tells her that he's pretty sturdy. Seal thinks that barrier is supposed to project the mind's fear into reality, as illusions, in order to break down their mind. When she met Cayenne, he was screaming like a maniac because of some ghost illusion. Eugene thinks that he's endured countless psychological attacks in his past life. Additionally, the forest barrier isn't meant to break down the mind of someone, only scare them. While getting off of the dragon, Seal notes that originally they were going to see how he responds to his fears, but instead of ambushing him early on, she has no other choice but to fight him. Eugene pulls out his sword too, and promises to not go easy on her. With that, Seal charges in, and Eugene deflects her with a single strike. She doesn't give up, however, and keeps jumping and attacking until Eugene catches her mid-air and unleashes a few magic missiles, knowing full well that she can't dodge mid-air. However, the wyvern roars, and with both of his wings, unleashes a gust of wind, strong enough to send Seal flying, which surprised Eugene, as he didn't expect such coordination and understanding. Seal then gets into position, as she prepares to strike him once again. Even when she does, Eugene just dodges, and while he is in the air, pulls out a whip, which he ties Seal with, making her fall to the ground as a result. He thinks that this is over, but Seal tells him to look behind. That's when the wyvern opens its mouth wide to bite him, but he dodges, resulting in him letting go of the whip. Eugene gets ready to kill this awfully creature, but Seal, who is still tied up, screams at him to not kill her dear Waiwi. Eugene is quite shocked at what he just heard, and asks her to repeat herself, which she does. Eugene sheaths his sword, but finds it quite annoying that she was the one who ambushed him first, so she shouldn't make demands like this. While the wyvern charges at him once again, he tells it that today is a lucky day, as he won't have to rid him from this world. With that, Eugene kicks him in the chin and jumps high into the air, finishing the fight with a mighty punch to the head. Eventually, Seal gets free of her restraints, and is quite mad that Eugene treated Waiwi so poorly, so she charges up her sword soul and rushes in with a mighty thrust. Eugene just puts his hand forwards, which makes Seal wonder why he's doing this. Is he really going to use his bare hands to block Sword Soul? Is he crazy? Without much choice, she misses deliberately, which allows Eugene to grab her hand, put her in handlock, and pin her to the ground. Seal asks him to go easier on her, and Eugene agrees, but only if she stops attacking him. She notes that the fight was already over, as she couldn't have won in the first place. With that, Eugene lets her go, and she asks if he predicted that she was going to change her trajectory like that. Eugene notes that it was a coin toss, a gamble he made, which makes her mad, as his hand could have been sent flying. Eugene notes that he knew anyway, that she wouldn't do anything to his hand, which makes her call him a bastard. Eugene also says that it's a surprise to see her here, but since she's here, why doesn't she explain what is going on to her? Seal just tells him to find the Black Lion Castle, but Eugene already knows that. What he was asking is how this trial will work. That's when Seal explains that there are a total of 60 Black Lion Knights, including the captains, that are going all over the mountain and looking for him. Eugene notes that this is a bit over the top of something as simple as a coming-of-age ceremony, but she notes that the Senate leader values him quite well, and Cayenne was just mixed up in this trial because of him. Eugene still tells her that 60 people is just too much for only 2 people, but Seal notes that the mountain is quite vast, and they are not all participating in the ambush, as some are positioned to stop him or Cayenne from going to places where they shouldn't. Eugene thinks about this, and one place immediately comes to mind, Vermouth's grave, the place he wants to go to. Eugene asks what kinds of places they aren't allowed in, and Seal explains that it's most likely dangerous places, because this mountain has tons of monsters in it, and around here, there are only ogres. But once he goes deeper and deeper, there are countless demonic creatures who actually hunt ogres for fun. Eugene is quite surprised by her statement, as he didn't expect for demons to be here of all places. Seal notes that, from what she heard at least, they are raising them to increase the Black Lion Knight's experience. Eugene looks at her with a stern face and explains that demons aren't dogs or cats. They can't raise them. All they did was let some demons loose in the forest. Vermouth's grave, their damn ancestor, should be in this mountain, but they just let demons have their fun around here? Seal asks why he's getting mad at her, of all people, but Eugene still holds her accountable, as she is also a part of the Lionheart family. Seal didn't see him as a real patriot of the Lionheart family, and explains that The demons are kept far away from Vermouth's grave, and she's gone for demon raids several times around here. But there was nothing about that grave, ever. Eugene thinks that if that senile Senate leader is paying close attention to him, he must change his plan, as he was going to try and locate the grave, but there are too many variables. For now, he will go with plan B, that is, to just go to the Black Lion Castle. While Seal gets ready to leave, Eugene tries to hitch a ride, but she refuses, and warns him to get as far away from this place as humanly possible, since the other knights will get to him very soon. Eugene looks around to get an idea, but suddenly tries to grab Seal, which she notices, so she swiftly dodges. Eugene was expecting this, so he charges up a gust of wind and sends her flying. This allows him to get on top of the wyvern, which tries to get him off immediately, but Eugene warns him, if he doesn't want to get beaten within an inch of his life, he better start flying.